Wake up, smoke a joint, freshen up, and leave for college. This used to be my morning routine. I would go get a cigarette in every short break and head back to our friends to smoke a bowl during the long one. As soon as we got done with our lectures, we would call up one of our dealers, score a bag, head back home, grab our bong, and challenge ourselves to finish the entire bag before college the next day, leaving just enough for one last joint in the morning, of course. This was my college life. Then, out of nowhere, COVID hit and we were all sent back home. Now, I couldn't keep getting high during the days at home, so I channeled my addiction back to where it was before the drugs, the internet. So I would alternate between Instagram and Netflix and YouTube and video games sober throughout the day. And at night, I would get high and do the same. Let me tell you what this life was like. I was distant from my family. We lived in the same house but barely spoke. My mental health was terrible, to say the least. I couldn't run for 100 meters without having to gasp for breath. I would have to sit down on the ground after climbing one flight of stairs because of how dizzy I would get. As a kid, I had had the biggest of dreams, just like any other kid does. I'm gonna be so goddamn rich. I'll be so confident. I'll be such a strong man. All of these dreams had just vanished. I now just saw myself as a junkie, as a drug addict. I saw myself as a failure, a loser. I saw myself as unreliable, as untrustable. Imagine breaking your own word so many times that you yourself go, I cannot trust this guy. Imagine not being able to trust your own goddamn self. I had started to feel afraid of the future. I knew that I wasn't headed in a good direction, so I actively avoided ever thinking about the future. I actively avoided ever planning for the future. When I would be lying in bed at night waiting to fall asleep, that was the only time in the day I would leave myself alone with my thoughts. During this time, my mind would often start thinking about the future. When it would start doing this, I would inevitably start panicking, start freaking out, start sweating profusely. I would never be able to sleep on those nights. Those entire nights I would go sleepless. I think worst of all, I had lost any and all respect for myself. There was not one thing I liked about myself, not one redeeming quality I saw in myself. I didn't love myself anymore. After getting high, I would often feel guilty and open up some self-improvement videos. I would watch Ali Abdal, Thomas Frank, Matt Diavla. I have nothing but respect for these guys, by the way. They've achieved so much with their lives. They've done great. They've put in the work and it shows. But I remember when I would watch their videos, I would hear them talk about how to squeeze those 5 extra minutes of output after spending the entire day productively. And the only thought, the only question in my mind would be, tell me, how do I sleep sober for one night? How do I just for one night not break my promise to myself of not getting high tonight? How do I spend 5 minutes productively in total? Not 5 extra minutes after an entire day's productivity. For some reason, these videos never did anything for me. I think I put Ali and all of these people up on a pedestal. I would think this guy made his first website at the age of 13. He got into Cambridge Med School and topped his class there. He's a coder, a magician, a musician, and 100 more things. Of course, he made it big. Of course, he's successful. Who, if not him, would make it? It was one of these nights when I'd promised myself in the morning that I wouldn't get high, but did anyway. So I felt bad, I felt guilty about it and started binging self-improvement videos. It was one of these nights when I randomly stumbled upon a video by this guy, Hamza. For the first time, I saw a guy admit on camera that he was a proper junkie who used to get high every night. I was intrigued, I was fascinated, and as I kept watching, I saw him talk about overcoming his addictions, about dropping his addictions. He talked about turning his life around, about starting to do the right things for the first time in his life over the past 24 years. He talked about how he felt happy for the first time ever. He talked about starting to love life for the first time. He talked about starting to respect, starting to love himself for the first time ever. He had not even made it big back then. I don't think he had started earning from his channel as of yet. But it was just seeing somebody who was in my position start to get their act straight that gave me hope. It was just seeing somebody who was as far gone as me start to do things the right way, start to do the right things that made something click for me. And I realized that all my life I've walked just in this one direction, but that doesn't mean that I can't, that I have to now continue on it for the rest of my life. Any day I decide, any time I decide, I can just take an about turn and start walking in the opposite direction. Seeing his videos, it, for the first time in years, gave me hope. That was all that I needed, hope. For the first time in as long as I could remember, I dreamed again. I said, just like a kid does, I am going to be successful, I am going to make it big, I'm going to be rich, I am going to build my dream body, I'm going to be confident, I'm going to be socially skilled, I'm going to be happy. How? I had absolutely no idea, but the decision had been made. Of course, I had my ups and downs after that, majorly downs initially, which I've talked a lot about in various different videos, but the general trajectory ever since that initial glimmer of hope has been upwards. Since then, I went on to give the GMAT and get a stupid high score of 730, something that I couldn't have imagined in my wildest dreams. I went on to get into University of Sydney for my postgraduate. I wasn't even getting into the mid-tier universities of my own country. University of Sydney is miles above even the top IIMs, the top ISBs of the country. I went on to build my dream body. I had been gymming on and off for about 3 years before giving it all up for the drugs. But over the past year, I got back into it with 100% consistency, 100% intensity, and made more progress over the past 1 year than I had in the first 3. And finally, and definitely the most importantly, I infinitely improved my self-image. You want to hear something preposterous? Never, not once, did I ever take action to get something that I wanted. I would really want something. I remember the first time I played PlayStation at a friend's. I came back home and begged my parents to get me one. All they said was, get an average grade in class, an average grade, and we'll get you one, we'll get it for you. Not for a single day did I even try to put in the work to get it. I would fall for a girl, be obsessed with her for months, but I would never do anything about it. I would never ask her out. Every relationship that I've been in, the girl was the one who asked me out. I finally have abs now, but I have wanted them since I can remember. There was a point in time when I was consumed by this desire. I wanted nothing more than to have a six-pack. But not for 2 days did I even try to stop eating my 2-3 packets of chips and half a tub of ice cream a day. The biggest change that has come about in the past year is that I believe that I can do, I can achieve, I can get anything that I want to, anything that I set my mind to. And I believe this to my core. I don't know if I'm delusional. I don't want to know. What I do know is that this one change has completely altered my outlook towards life. I went from being a victim and unwilling participant of life to seeing life as a challenge. I went from being an NPC to becoming the main character of my own life. This has been my self-improvement journey so far. It's hands down been the greatest year of my life, and we're only just getting started. Every day I feel grateful for the fact that I got the frontmost seats to my own life, that I have the fortune to see my life unfold before my own eyes day after day. Seeing myself become into the man that I have has been the greatest thing that I've witnessed, and I can't wait to see where life takes me. I can't wait to see the rest of my life unfold. Join me on this journey. Let's together become the best versions of ourselves. Let me help you by twice a week putting out the best videos I possibly can, stuffing as much knowledge, as much value into each one of them as I possibly can. Which I promise, by the way, is going to keep getting better with time. You want proof of that? Just scroll back to my first few videos and compare them to this one. And you help me and this community that we're building over here by using the comment section to share with us your story. Tell us about your successes, your failures, your experiences. Ask for advice, give advice, make yourself at home over here. It's been an absolute delight to make this video and relive my past year in the process. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. As always, I wish you all the best with everything, my brother, and I'll see you in the next one.